there, welcome to my kitchen. What I'd like to show you today is how I actually build and put together my smoked cheddar cheese stuffed hamburger patties. They're actually quite amazing, the juiciest burgers I've ever had. This batch that I'm making up today, we're going to deliver to my daughter's house this afternoon. Her and her family are self-isolating, so they can't get out and buy groceries and do stuff like that. So I'm going to try and help her out by supplying her dinner for today. So let's get after it and see what we can do here. We're going to start with equal parts ground beef and lean ground pork. It's about a pound of each, just a little less than a half a kilogram of each, I guess. Anyway, mix thoroughly together, and to that we're going to add about a tablespoon or so of smoked paprika, more or less depending on your tastes. We're going to add about a teaspoon or so of garlic powder. Once again, more or less depending on your tastes. To that, we're also going to add maybe a teaspoon of salt and a pretty good dose of ground black pepper. Now we just have to get in there and mix this all up so that the spices are all evenly distributed through the meat. That just takes a bit of time. Now what we want to do is, once we've mixed all this up thoroughly, is form them into little round balls that we will then press into patties eventually, keeping in mind that it's going to take 2 of these round balls to make 1 decent sized hamburger patties. That's about that size. Is probably once again, you're going to have to play with this and figure it out. But you want to try and get an even number of these that are pretty much the same size. To form these patties, I'm actually going to use this old melamine plate. I mean, I don't know, I'm not quite sure how old this plate is. I do know I have a photograph of it. I was washing it on a canoe trip in Ontario in 1978. So it's been around for a while. And we had 4 of them, and we still have 2 left. But I'm going to use this plate to actually press the patties down into the shape. I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to pick some parchment paper on the counter here. I'm going to take one of the balls of hamburger meat. I'm going to place another piece of parchment paper on top of that. And I just press it gently on each direction to try and keep it as round as possible. Then I'm going to place the plate on top of that and put a whole bunch of weight on it and rock it around a little bit and press it out into a nice flat hamburger patty that we're just going to set that aside. Actually, before we set it aside, we're going to put some cheese on it. This is some Balderson double smoked aged cheddar cheese, and that's the cheese I really like to use on this. So we'll set that one aside. We'll bring a piece of parchment back in there, and we got several pieces of this parchment cut up, and we're going to use most of them. We're going to then take and press that second patty out. So it's, maybe a 1/4 inch thick, certainly less than a centimeter thick. You don't need them very thick because there's going to be 2 patties sandwiched together here. So we're going to slide that original one back in. I'm going to roll this one off the parchment paper and place it on top. Now we're just going to go around and seal the edges real good. Then I actually pick it up off there and roll it around in my hand and make sure that edge is good and sealed and form a nice plump patty like that. So that's one. We're going to do the rest of them the same way, with the exception of the last two, which I'm just going to make just two plain patties for my grandsons.